Hello Park Road students, I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be talking about and asking the question of what is the purpose of life? Have you ever thought about that? Why do I exist? Why am I here? What does it all mean? Philosophers have debated about the purpose of life since mankind was created. Are we just simply a bunch of atoms that randomly came together during the Big Bang? Are our ancestors monkeys with tails and we just evolved from a puddle of atoms and cells? Or is there a God in heaven who created us and we have a purpose from him? Here's one answer that Psychology Today said is the meaning and purpose of life. Psychology Today said, what is the purpose of life? An answer to the ultimate question is that we exist to continue to exist. We evolve to evolve. This is fundamental to every living organism. Inherent to our existence is that we learn, adapt, grow. Health, happiness, and longevity are the payoffs for this. Since our biological evolution is the foundation of our existence, a purpose of our lives is to continue to evolve during our lifetime by learning and growing. Each day, our purpose is to strive to be a little bit better than the day before and to continue this evolutionary process throughout our lifetime. Notice what is there and not there in their meaning to life. There's a lot about us as a humankind and our happiness and our enjoyment and our contentment, but God is completely missing from that view of life. Max Lucado said, philosophers can debate about the meaning of life, but you need a Lord who can declare the meaning of life. This is why as Christians, we can't depend upon philosophy or reason or science to know what the meaning of life is. Do you know that all those scientific theories, a lot of them, they become as theories? That means they just have an idea. They can't really prove it, but there's a theory. And then later in life, as technology evolves and a new scientific discovery happens, they find out that that theory that once everyone believed actually isn't true, and they have to start all over again. This is why when we go to God's Word, we have something that cannot change. It's infallible, it's without error, and we can trust what God has said in His Word. Here's what God has said in His Word about the purpose and meaning to life. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. So the question of why we exist is not something to be debated about, but to be surrendered to. That we exist not for ourselves or for our own happiness and joy, but for God's glory. And as we serve God and we desire to glorify Him, we will receive and have joy and happiness and contentment and peace, but it's found in God's purpose for our life and not in our own. Psalm 16:11 says, you make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. There is true joy in following God's purpose for your life. That's why we need to get to know Him, to discover what He's put us here to do, because there's joy there. There's peace to be found in pursuing God's purpose for our life. The Westminster Confession of Faith Shorter Catechism puts it like this. It says, what is the primary purpose of man, or what is the chief end of man? And the answer is, man's chief end, or man's primary purpose, is to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. So we only have really two options in the meaning and purpose of our life. We can try to find joy in earthly and worldly pleasures and passions, and live for ourselves and live for what makes us feel good, which only will lead to misery and discontentment and confusion. Or option two is to live for God. It's to say that I'm going to live for God and His glory, and I'm going to do what He's put me on earth to do. And we find delight and joy and obedience to God. And the end result in that is peace and contentment and fulfillment. So which option will you choose today? Which option will you choose this week as we think about what you're going to be doing? Will you choose to live for yourself and your own pleasure, or for God and His glory? And again, the promise is when we live for God and His glory, He gives us joy. He gives us contentment. He gives us purpose for being here. So if I were you, I would choose option number 2 today and this week going forward. I'll see you guys later.